Minute one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Osquery Office Hours. Here in Massachusetts, we have an awful lot of snow, and it has been a lot of shoveling, but I hope it has been calm wherever the rest of you are. So, welcome to the endless snowstorms. Next up, announcements and highlights. Zach cut Osquery 522, so thank you, Zach.
Yes, you're welcome. So it's cut, but the released binaries on Mac OS are not functional. So I think let's talk about that more further down.
Mhm.
But the release is cut, and yeah, I think it might be necessary to release a 5.22.1 in order to fix that. But sorry, let's talk about it further down when we're ready to do that.
I don't have any other announcements.
Okay. No more. Yeah. If there are no more announcements, Eric, did you have any questions that you wanted to get to while you just joined? Okay. So then let's talk about it. So a couple of significant things happened with this release. So I'll come back to macOS in a second, but for Linux, we did some toolchain upgrades, which was originally, I wasn't intending to do the toolchain. I wasn't intending to like significantly change the toolchain because I was imagining the 1.2.0 release of the toolchain would just be the same toolchain but generated on the CI runners. But then there were already commits that we hadn't released yet. So that changed the actual dependencies, notably LLVM up to 11.0.0, I think. So when I put in the PR that upgraded the tool chain because of my understanding, which Stefano very interested in your feedback on this, but because of my understanding on what sort of things need to be validated in terms of like the glibc and other potential linking issues, I tested the binaries generated by the new tool chain across a number of different Linux distributions and architectures running through Vagrant VMs. And so that was everything from Ubuntu 16 up to Ubuntu 24, and then CentOS 6 through 10, basically. And the binaries appeared to run and execute a simple SQL query on each of those. And I think it's my understanding that like if there was a glibc issue or something like that, they just wouldn't run at all, probably.
Yeah, also that specific commit did not update the glibc version, so we are still targeting the glibc version of CentOS 6.
Okay. Got it.
But yeah, anyway, definitely good to check anyway. Thank you.
But the compiled binaries ran, so I haven't yet tested the release binaries, because the first release binary I went to test was the macOS one, and that's when I ran into issues. But I don't think that there will be any difference since the PR binaries seem to run fine with the toolchain. I think the release ones should be fine, but I've also set up some configuration and scripting that makes it relatively easy to spin up all of these different versions of the Linuxes and across the different architectures with Vagrant. And I think that it needs to be done with Vagrant. It can't just be done with Docker because we need actually different kernel versions. I see nodding. Okay, thank you. This is all stuff that I've learned from Stefano about the sort of importance and significance of these things. So it's full VMs running in Vagrant that I've been running on my Mac actually, because that's my machine. I will be sharing soon the configuration I've been using for that, especially because I have been working on the further toolchain updates, which I'd like to talk about later. Anything else that you'd like to say about the Linux toolchain stuff that I've just mentioned there? Not sort of the future updates, but the update to LLVM 11.0 and the toolchain 1.2.0 release.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I don't
sweet
have
to
any.
see it. Thank you, Stefano, for the work and the help to help me understand what any of that stuff meant and how to use it. And yes, I think we should come back to it, but I have a PR to potentially update like everything, which seems more likely to break things. But so far, in a minimal set of testing, it didn't. Okay, but let's.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
With the toolchain updates, do we want to change the major version on Osquery?
My initial instinct is no, because I don't think we're significantly changing the compatibility of what like distros and versions Osquery runs on.
Yeah,
I would
I
It's
agree.
not
qualify that.
breaking. It's not breaking new features or like incompatible API changes.
Well, we hope it's not breaking.
We hope it's not.
The glibc
And so is that on
thing-
us to test or change the release number so that people are more scared? Like
Yes, that's the question.
maybe both?
But to my understanding of Stefano's analysis around this is the ways that this is likely to break things are like in the Osquery won't start up at all category,
Mhm.
more than likely. And so we can actually just sort of test across a matrix of distros and versions, specifically the ones that we have kind of intentionally targeted in the past, which I think is basically like CentOS 6 to 10, Ubuntu 16 to 24, and yes, there are a million other distros and versions, but that kind of covers like the RPM based and the Deb based distros to a moderate extent.
Okay, I'm fine with it either way. So if y'all don't think we need to, then let's move on.
But I think that's also a question we can come back to when we do like the significant updates. So again, as Stefano said, like there was no glibc update. It was just LLVM from like 8 to 11. My newer PR like updates everything, and it updates to like LLVM 18, I think, and it updates the glibc versions, and it updates the bin utils versions, and it adds BPF tool and other stuff like that. Which again, let's talk about that more later in this meeting. I'd say I would like to come back to the 5.22 release, which again, like I will test on Linux specifically around the toolchain upgrade, but where I have identified it's broken is on macOS, which to my understanding is in relation to the entitlements issue. And I believe the issue is that, Steph, you recently created new developer ID certificates. And so I think that with the new developer ID certificates, we need to update the provisioning profile that's used to like associate those with the entitlements. That is my best understanding so far. This stuff is unfortunately spread across multiple different repos. We've got like the keys and certificates in the Osquery code sign repo as like secrets, I believe. And then we've got the provisioning profile is in the main the Osquery/Osquery repo. And then the provisioning profile is used, though, I think, by the Osquery packaging repo. So then, so there's a couple things I want to mention here. One, I noticed, Seth, the new certificates that you created are only valid until February 1, 2027. And as far as I can tell, I think that's because when you go to create a new certificate on the Apple portal, in fact, let me just show you guys.
So I don't know if it's the intermediaries or if I just didn't give them a longer lifespan, but the process for certificate renewal isn't too painful given the notes that I left. So I don't feel too worried. Like you could remake them, or we could be like, we'll remake them in 8 months.
So my
worry is the provisioning profile.
Yeah, the thing is, when we remake them, we also have to remember to redo the provisioning profile and
We can
blah blah
update our
blah.
notes at
So
least.
it is my intention currently. I'm working through the process of creating new certs that have the 5-year validity, which seems to be Apple's intention for how long certs should be valid. That seems to have worked. When I selected, like, I'm not sure why they have the default to use the old one, even though it seems like they're trying to transition to the new one. So when I manually selected use the new one, it did give me the 5-year expiration. So I've just created certificates that use that. And then my intention is to update the provisioning profile to use that certificate, and then to update the secrets, which that's in the Osquery code sign repo in the secrets with the certificates and keys. Now, then it comes to the issue of like 522.1 potentially. So right now, the provisioning profile lives in the Osquery/Osquery repo. And so it seems like if we are going to update the provisioning profile there, we might be most sort of technically correct in tagging a 5.22.1. But that seems kind of annoying.
No,
And
we
I'm
should
wondering
just
if,
tag a 521.1.
on the other hand, though, I don't really see why that provisioning profile needs to be in the Osquery/Osquery repo. Like, can't we just move it to the code sign or the packaging repo?
I think it was there because there's a development workflow that can use it without needing to go through like the full code signing repo. But I don't know if anyone other than Charvel has ever, because if you were developing against endpoint security, you would need a development provisioning profile.
Okay, and with that, I noted when I went onto the developer account, there are two profiles. There's a type development and a type developer ID application profile, and each of those was expired. They're both expired.
Sounds like they probably had to have been renewed when I did the certs.
Yes, yes, that is my impression. They probably expire at the same time the certs expire. In fact, I think I maybe found some Apple documentation that suggested that.
I would say that cutting a new release should be inexpensive.
Yeah.
And my inclination is that I would cut a release before I thought hard enough to move the provisioning profile. I would certainly approve PRs where you chose a different path.
Okay.
So if you want
Okay,
to
I think
move
I'll
it,
just see. Okay, so now I think I sort of see why. I think I sort of see why it's done like this, because it's within, there's a macOS packaging directory in the Osquery repo that includes like the package like info.plist and package info file and the Osquery.entitlements file and the provision profile file. Okay, I think, but then that provision profile file, as far as I can tell, is only ever used in the packaging process, maybe.
or some local development flows may use it.
Okay, I mean, I think that probably then I will just replace it in the Osquery repo. If someone could give me like an approval on that PR, then I can merge that tag 522.1, and then I think that the ultimate code sign product, if I have not fucked up other things in the process, will then work.
I'm happy to approve things. Please update the README and Osquery code sign with whatever you've learned.
Yeah, I already have that open
Nice.
and
The other thing here is when I was recently renewing the cert, I thought about whether to put the Apple code signing stuff into Git or like as an actual Git, but like to check in the PK12 or to leave it in GitHub secrets. And I opted to leave it in GitHub secrets so that the artifact wasn't sitting around on the checkout on my machine. But that also means that to update those certs, you do not need, there's no commit associated with them. It is just an edit to the GitHub
it's a
secrets.
secret edit.
Probably on the organizational level, not the repo level, but I can't remember.
I think I looked at this earlier. I think it was on the repo level.
I'm sure the UI will make it very clear.
Yeah, let's see. Actions, environment secrets, repository secrets. Oh, organization secrets. No, it is at the organization level. But then there are a bunch of other secrets that are in repository secrets that it's not really clear to me that those should be. But anyway.
When I make secrets, I put them at the org level and explicitly share them into a repo because org administration is more limited. When Teddy made secrets to do that, I think he put them into the repo secrets because that's how he did it. So
Sure.
I think that's just a historical artifact of who made them.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I can see that the organization secrets that seem to be, that are like the P12, base64, and password were updated 2 weeks ago, whereas everything else has not been updated for years. So whatever you did there seemed to work. It just
I
missed the.
I just forgot the provisioning.
Yeah, it just missed the provisioning profile step, which it's funny because the whole shebang like works until you go to execute the binary, and including like the spctl command to like see if things are all good. Like you don't get any feedback until you like look in the console log and you see that messages are there. But otherwise, if you try to execute the binary, you just see like killed. If you look, it says like it's notarized property. It says it's signed properly. Like, and then what's that?
Do we have this in a test?
I don't think so.
We could.
Well, that's an interesting question. Like we could,
because if it's just an execution, then like
we
any
could, in theory, like our code sign actions could, like after they make the packages, attempt to install them and execute the binary before uploading them. Seems like a good idea.
I mean, they can even just unzip it.
It unzips fine.
Or unzip and execute.
Oh, unzip and execute. Unzip what? You can just unzip a PKG?
Excuse me, untar, but yes, you can just untar a PKG.
Okay. Oh, because PKGs are like ZAR archives or something?
Yeah, you can just untar them. Inside it, you'll find a payload, which you then have to untar again. And inside the payload, you'll find all the things you expect.
Right. Okay, so something along those lines can be done, theoretically.
Yeah. I'm checking. I thought we did, but
let's see. I was just looking at that workflow.
no, it doesn't look like we do.
Sign the binaries, create tar and zip, notarize.
Yeah, I don't
the PKG, sign the PKG, notarize the PKG, create the RGZ, and then we list.
Okay, well, we could just do it.
And we upload. Another thing while we're on this topic is I noticed that we don't staple the notarization. Maybe we should.
The reason that we don't staple the notarization is because at the time we built a lot of this. Okay, so there are two. So one, notarizations take an unbounded amount of time.
Right, which is annoying.
And at the time we did this, the commands for interfacing with the notarization stuff did not have good ways of kind of waiting on that. And then you get into questions around like, how do you want to model that in a GitHub action?
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder though, like, is it more problematic if like the action finishes and unbeknownst to us, it's still just in the process of notarization and we start trying to run the binary and we're like, why the heck doesn't this work?
no, because it shouldn't. Ooh, that's a good question.
I almost would rather see that the action is just still running and hasn't uploaded anything because it's waiting for notarization to complete.
You may not need notarization if you're the one that there's a lot of fucking weird stuff in Apple. Like if you signed it, you may not need the notarization. Like it's weird.
Do you have any strong objection to me changing from no wait to wait and then stapling on the notarization steps?
I have no idea. That's what I don't know. I don't know what it does to our GitHub minutes.
We don't, oh, because CodeSign's a private repo?
It's a private repo, but we might get some minutes comped. I don't know. We don't pay anything for GitHub, but I would like to keep not paying anything for. I think my worry is like, what do we do if it's like Apple usually finishes notarization in under a minute.
Under a minute, yeah.
With maybe like a P90 out to, let's say a P99 is something like under 15 seconds with a P90 at a minute. I have these numbers backwards. A P90 is at 15 seconds. A P99 is at a minute, but a P999 is out at like 15 minutes.
Which still doesn't seem that bad.
No objections then. If you want to try it.
And we could also set like a timeout on the workflow at 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, but that would cause the workflow to fail. Whereas,
yes, it would cause the workflow to fail, and then it would have to be restarted. But it would prevent like hanging for a long time.
If you want to try it, no objections. Maybe set a timeout at 5 minutes and stick a wait in there.
Okay.
See what happens.
Okay. All right. Cool. So I think basically, I'm going to do everything I described. I'm gonna up. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I have a caveat on the certs. Which I think I made clear in that README, and maybe you have already figured this out. But there are 2 of them, and they have stupid, confusing names, and you need to have both of them.
Yeah, the installer and then the
application and application install. Developer application and developer install.
Yeah. Yes, and I have never understood all these different certificate types from Apple, but I do know that you just need to get the right ones.
Okay, so there are fundamentally like 2 axes. One axis is for whether you're signing a application. Bundles are applications. The bundles, Mako binaries, whatever. Are you signing an application? And the other one is for whether you're signing an installer. So that's one axis. The other axis is whether it's for something going into the App Store or for being distributed outside of the App Store. Because we're outside of the App Store, we need the developer certificates. All of the other certificates there are for being pushed into the App Store, which gets additional signings from Apple.
Okay. I mean,
you can keep not understanding. It's fucking
I just
chaos.
I just use the ones that we are said to need. But yes, I did see that there are the 2 different types. I've seen it in the past. I think that I selected the right ones. It shows that in the dashboard.
If you don't,
it shows the right ones in the dashboard. So I think we're good. Developer ID application, developer ID installer, and they're valid until February 26, 2031.
Right. Yeah, I tried to leave enough notes to have the process that you don't have to go through keychain, which is sort of this other mess. So
yes, and then let's see, and if I select the certificate that's valid till 2031, then the provisioning profile is now also valid until 2031.
Okay, sweet.
So I think that means hopefully we don't have to touch any of this stuff again for 5 years.
That's why I leave notes, because in 5 years I'm barely.
Oh
gonna
yeah, we can have zero memory of that. So thank you for leaving the notes, and I will PR and update to the notes.
Yeah, I'll forget the provisioning profile again, 100%.
Yes. Okay. So yeah. So let me make sure to note. I'll make a new key instead. Say sorry. Yeah. Sign. Update provisioning. Okay. So I've got that in there.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. So I think that's it on the macOS stuff. Basically, I appreciate. I know, Seth, I know you said you're busy today, but I'd appreciate if you or someone could give me like quick approvals on some
PR's up?
PRs. What's that?
PR's up?
No, not yet.
Yeah,
They
DM me.
will be soon. I'll DM you. Yeah, and it should be simple to review PRs. Okay, thank you. And then, so then I guess the other thing to talk about is the like significant toolchain upgrades. So that would be like my PR number 32. I'll put it in the toolchain repo. And Stefano like would really especially appreciate your feedback on this. I see I got an approval from Seth. Thank you. Really would really love to have Stefano take a look. Like, so this is the one that updates everything. So like cross tool goes from version 124 to 128. LLVM goes from 11 to 18. GCC goes from 8 to 13. The Linux kernel version gets updated just a tiny bit up to 49335 from 49156. The glibc goes to different versions depending on whether it's ARM or x86, which sort of matches. ARM was already a bit ahead of x86. Bin utils gets updated, zlib gets updated, and I've also added libelf, libbpf, and bpf tool into the toolchain, which I'm not certain is the right approach, but that's all with the intention of being able to use libbpf and bpf tool as we get rid of eBPF pub and want to use the newer BPF stuff.
Yeah, the problem with putting them in the toolchain is that then you can't easily update them if there is any issue. So normally, like the toolchain should have the bare minimum necessary for the language, at least the original idea, the bare minimum and the necessary minimum to build what's in Osquery. And I think there was like an exception for LLVM because it came with the LLVM library. It came with the compiler, and so like again the LLVM library was used to have that BPF, those BPF tables, that BPF implementation. But then even in that case, you get stuck with that version.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. But with BPF, things like BPF tool that I think runs. I'm trying to remember. BPF tool runs some sort of like code generation step, I think, when we're building BPF stuff. And I think the thing that came to mind for me was like, if we're running a newer version of BPF tool that wasn't like built with the tool chain, does it somehow like do different code generation than the toolchain version would.
I'm less familiar with BPF and the, let's say, new tooling, but even if it does, I mean, it's a problem, or it's actually what we would want. Like again, I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Okay.
We can update it if we
Okay.
if
So
those
maybe
libraries are separate. Yeah.
Okay. So I think why don't I try to see if I can like separate off the libelf, libbpf, and bpf tool stuff so that we can merge all the other changes, and then we can treat libelf and libbpf and bpf tool like regular dependencies. I
Yeah.
think I can't remember if there was some issue I ran into with that, or if I just had like some vague concerns about like, is a newer version of BPF tool going to generate code that doesn't work or something. I guess we can just like test these things.
Yeah. Also, I guess we also have a slightly better control on how they are built. I mean, in a sense, like okay, it's more work to have them on the Osquery side, just because we want to write a hard-coded build system and a hard-coded setup configuration for those libraries. But at the same time, it's the benefit of it, which is hard-coded, and then we can also update them independently from the toolchain itself.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And I did in one of my pull requests, I think my like experiment with BPF build pull request, I actually did add the like libelf and libbpf libraries, and generate the CMake and stuff. And that was, when I say generate the CMake, that's because I mean like I got AI to do it, and it seemed to work. Because I do not have that thorough an understanding of CMake, but what I saw looked sensible to my limited knowledge, and it seemed to work. I guess I should note that all of this like toolchain updating work is like heavily AI assisted, because you run into all sorts of weird errors and stuff that AI does seem to, like the LMs do seem to be able to find workarounds at times. But I think that, and again, like I've certainly read through everything it proposed, but I'm not necessarily an expert on everything. So I think it could use like a careful look through as well. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the feedback on that. I think what I'll do is I'll change this PR back to a draft with the intention to remove the libelf, BPF, BPF, and BPF tool before requesting. And then Stefano, if you're able, it would be awesome to get a review on that from you. Not that it's a big rush, because we're just about to publish the release with the minor toolchain updates, but then hopefully the next release in 2 months from now, we'll be able to use this new toolchain.
Okay. Yeah. Curiosity, I forget what got in. Was this changed based on also the LLVM 14 branch, or was this done from scratch?
I think
just
this was
curiosity.
done from scratch.
Oh, okay.
I think it was done from scratch. Trying to remember. Feb 12.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, I mean, I forgot things. I recall there was some bigger change I had to do around how it was compiling things, or at least the stages. Oh, yeah.
Remind
I
me
may have,
where your work is.
yeah.
Three branches.
So
Is it like in your fork?
it's on my fork, and it's the LLVM 14 branch. I'll link it.
Review active stale LLVN 14. Oh yeah, I
Bye.
see it. Thank you. Eric. Okay, so then
Take care, y'all.
I get behind. Let's see. So you updated the cross-12ng versions a little bit.
Although to be fair,
Yeah.
I think I might have done that to simplify, because I think I removed one step that maybe wasn't needed. So
Clean up
yeah.
stage one. Move on. Okay, interesting. There's some cleanup stuff that you changed for sure. That maybe we would want to pull some of that in.
Yeah, I removed the, well, no, not removed, but yeah, I did remove the build compiler libs function, I believe, and also the build compiler RT built-ins, and basically unified everything in build LLVM or something like that on the diff.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know if that's really a must in the end. I guess again, there was an additional step, maybe that.
Well, I'd be curious.
But
Like
anyway,
maybe you could take a quick look at
Mhm.
at the PR that I have open now, and just like keep in mind that I am gonna remove all the libalf and libbpf and bpf tool stuff. But that's basically all at the end anyway. Just see if there's anything that looks like not right.
Yeah, no, I think there's no problem. Now, I think that the older build system of LLVM would not correctly support doing like the full build with another compiler on, or with itself, basically in one shot, in one single build. So you had to break apart the steps. So like the steps that would compile the C++ library, and the step that would compile those compiler RT built-ins, which is why they were on separate function called explicitly.
Okay.
And the newer one, instead, you can do it one shot, telling it to compile everything at the same time.
Okay, so that
basically.
might
Yeah.
make it go quicker, basically.
Yeah, slightly, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I
like,
mean, if you have an idea of how to like apply that to my changes here, or if you want to just sort of like take over and own this, feel free. This was what I got to through much tinkering that works, that does seem to successfully build, and then the like compilers execute. And I think I then built Osquery on each of ARM and x86. And so I was like, wow, after like many hours, it worked.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, thank you for. I can imagine. It takes a bit, and even more manually. So when this was done originally manually, so yeah.
Oh
no,
man,
I think,
to be honest, I can't even imagine doing it without like an LLM that can sort of like help you ideate various solutions to all the issues that come up. Like that was huge for me.
Yeah. Yeah, for some of them it was, well, weeks, couple of weeks. Or
I'm sure. Well, thank you and
but anyway,
others who did that work.
yeah. Anyway, I think that, yeah. Sorry, I was basically thinking out loud, processing and trying to remember why I did those changes. I think that's completely fine how it is done in your PR.
Okay, cool. Thank
We
you.
don't need necessarily. We don't need to change it. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Anything else that you want to talk about while we're here?
I don't have anything else. No.
Okay, awesome. I think we can wrap it up then. There aren't any like major outstanding PRs in the Osquery in the main repo. I think everything that seemed like it was ready to merge, I got merged before cutting the release. So that's great. And I'm just going to continue working on making sure that we've got working macOS binos. Start testing more extensively the 5.22 release. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stefano, and thank you anyone else who's tuned in.
See you.